Hey guys, you're listening to episode 56 of the School of Intuition Soundcast, and I'm Natasha Che. This soundcast is a self-realization training for the empathic badass, and my goal here is to help you, an empathic light being, to walk on this planet with power and grace so that you can help elevate the consciousness of this earth in your own unique way, effectively. And I know I haven't produced any episodes for a while, I think at least 3 weeks. And in the next episode, I will tell you why. But for today, I want to talk about something super practical because we just crossed the threshold of the new year. And here's something we've got to do. Everybody listen up, okay? When a new year comes, most people, they do some kind of ritual, right? You go on a New Year's Eve for a party, you do the countdown, or people have goal setting for the new year. They have their New Year's resolutions, and they, write down the notebook, 10, 20 items they want to improve in this year, whatever. And all these rituals can be very helpful in improving your life if you do it in a certain way, okay? If you do it with intention, if you do it in a way that channels your truth, it can be very helpful, okay? And I know the new age, like spiritual people, depends on what kind of tradition lineage you follow. There are all sorts of other rituals. But today I want to talk to you about one particular ritual that I've found to be very, very powerful. It's very, very powerful because it's more likely to come from a neutral space where you channel the grace of the universe and you channel your highest truth rather than speaking from a place of ego. And this is a ritual that's going to help you to set your new year straight, to set you on the right path to attain your heart's truest desires and to fulfill your truest destiny for this upcoming year. So this is very helpful ritual, and you can do this. Ideally, you do this with someone else that you trust who is very good at listening, who has very good listening skills. Not listening to you, but listening, intuitive listening skills. That means this person's very good at listening to the fundamental truth about a situation or about a person. Okay, so if there is a person in your life, then do this ritual with them. And it will be super fun and super useful. But if you don't have such a person in your life, okay, because I constantly getting people asking me more like a complaint, minor complaint. It's like, I just can't find anybody in my social circle who are into the same things that I'm into. They mean this spiritual stuff, right? And they're like, well, everybody else is so unconscious. It's so, low vibration, whatever. So, I'm not trying to make fun of anybody. Okay, I was a little bit. Anyway, so, but it doesn't matter if you don't have such a person in your life. That's okay. You can do it on your own too, and it's super fun. And so here's the way I do it. Okay, the person I usually do it with is my soul sister Isabel Archer, and every year at the end of the year, we get together, we sit down, and we have some kind of tea time where we just sit down and we chat. We chat in a particular way. So you can make this as ritualistic as you want. You can play some, sacred music. You can smudge your whole room with sage or whatever, you can, call in the spirits, the open sacred space, whatever that you've got to do. Or you are, feel free to do none of that. Because all of that stuff is to get you into the right state, right? So if you don't believe in all that stuff, that's fine. So it helps some people. It doesn't help everybody. So once we sit down, right? So, and then we basically just take turns to talk about each other's life in its future state. So, for example, I will tell her what I see happening for her in this upcoming year, what she needs to be mindful about, what kind of things are going to happen both in her personal life, in her career, in her, finances, in her spiritual life. And then we record this on video. Basically, she holds up her, cell phone camera and record me talking to her. And I do the same when she's talking. And when I do this, what I do is I do the same thing when I'm having a conversation with the universe. I tune into, the space, the non-space that is the undercurrent of whatever chatter, noise, and phenomena that is being manifested in the 4-dimensional reality, and tap into what is beneath that. And I tap into the space before any creation happens. Okay? You don't have to, you can be very conscious. You can set conscious intention to do this. You may not need any conscious intention once you've been doing this for a while. Or you can send a prayer to the universe, to ask the universe to channel the truth through you. These are all basically all very similar things. You set the intention, you get yourself into the right state, so that the purpose of doing so is that you can set your ego aside, put aside your own little agenda or your opinion about this person or what you think is good for them. Okay? Set that aside as much as possible and talk from a neutral, compassionate space. Yeah? So that's pretty much it. I tell her what's going to happen in this upcoming year, what she needs to work on, what's the next stage of her development, what would be the likely challenges and how she can overcome those challenges, and what she needs to keep in mind. And I come from a very loving, compassionate space, and I do not say anything that I don't feel called to say. Or if I feel like just even slightly that I don't know if this is gonna help this person or not, then I don't say it. I only say those things that naturally come through, that I feel I can feel the underlying truth of it, and I feel that it's going to be helpful to the person. Because, you can look at truth in different perspectives. And certain perspectives more helpful than other perspectives. So, now sometimes I know you're thinking, okay, I've never done this before. If I sit down and I open my mouth and nothing comes out, what do I do? So relax, okay? So you don't have to convey any profound prophecy here. You can, if nothing comes through, just say whatever nice things you can think of about the other person. Maybe they're beautiful, maybe they're kind, maybe they're kind to their children. I don't know. What, just say what you like about the person. And I found that if you start from that space, now gradually something more comes through. And also, don't be scared, okay? And sometimes, like, okay, well, what if I say something wrong? What if I say something that doesn't come true? That's okay, totally fine, okay? I'm not asking you to play God here. But you see, the thing is, here's the thing. Why is this super helpful? Why do I find this more helpful than the so-called New Year's resolution or goal setting? It's because it comes from someone else that seems like a more neutral space, and that has a different effect on the subconscious compared to if that person, if I'm just writing down goals and I thought, okay, maybe I will achieve those, maybe I will not achieve those. And also a lot of those goals, the so-called goal setting, it doesn't come from a authentic space. It comes from the ego or the need to control certain things in your life. So it's very hard to set authentic goals unless you're like super, super clear and in tune with who you really are and you have a healthy sense of letting go. Otherwise, it's sometimes very hard to come up with those goals that actually, let's just say, in line with your destiny. They're actually good for you. Okay. But from someone else, it's oftentimes easier to be in that neutral space. But again, this needs to be a person who are relatively in tune with the truth of things, right? So it's probably usually not a good idea to do this with your mother. Because, they kind of have a set of expectation of you. It's a generalization, okay? I'm not saying anything about your mother. I'm sure your mother, your dad, super, super clear and self-aware, and they have released all expectation on their children, whatever. So that's why, that's not reason number one why this is helpful, because that person more likely come from a neutral stance, and that combined with a ability to listen to the underlying truth of things, the kind of prophecy, if you will, that they speak to you, can oftentimes be a lot more powerful than any goals that you write down. Okay. So, and the second thing is, when you hear something from an external source, it has a different effect on your subconscious, on your unconscious. That's why, curses and blessings work. Because that's the one reason, if someone tell you, something bad or something great is going to happen to you, is sometimes when you hear that, it has an effect on your state of being that sets a lot of things in motion, for better or worse. So especially, and also depending on the state that person is in, right? Sometimes that some words are more powerful than other words. But in general, when you hear something from an outside source, especially from a source that you trust, that has a unconscious, subconscious effect that can be very powerful on the person. So I give you an example. My soul sister, she she's like a athlete type of person, and she oftentimes has these goals of, this month I will lift X pounds of weight, I will get to the next level, whatever, in her training. Well, that those are fine, right? She sets her goals, but it has a very different feel if it comes from my mouth. If I tell her, you are going to get to this X stage this year in your physical training, that has a very different effect, right? Because it comes from a trusted source and an external source. So that is the ritual that I've found really useful. And I do this with someone that I really trust every year when the new year comes. And sometimes we actually do more frequently than that. It doesn't have to be a new year, right? It can be any time that you feel like it. Anytime you feel like, okay, this is a time when I do some consolidation and reflection and kind of set things I want to set things in a forward, I want to set things up to have a certain kind of forward looking momentum. So this kind of thing, you can do it anytime you want, right? So I also want to tell you, what if you don't have such a person in your life? You're like, I don't know who I can do this with. All my friends would think this is ridiculous, or they would be too scared to say something. In any case, I cannot find a person in my life to do this with. Never mind. You don't have to, okay? You don't have to have such a person. You can also do this on your own, which I also do, and I found this super powerful. Is you sit down by yourself. You sit in a quiet space when you're not interrupted. You can do all the ritualistic things to set yourself up in the right condition or not. Basically, I just sit down, put a cup of tea in front of me, and I start the voice recorder on my phone, and I record myself talk from the position of the universe talking to Natasha Che. So if the universe has something to tell me for my upcoming year and beyond, what is the universe gonna say? And I record it. And sometimes I talk about things that I don't, and I listen later, I don't even understand. I was like, what the heck was happening? What were you talking about? Doesn't matter. Okay? Doesn't matter. And because when you're in that neutral space, there is an energy that comes with it. It's not just about the conscious words. Okay, so I record this on my phone. I do this exercise whenever I feel like it. Could be the next quarter, could be the next month, could be the next year. And I talk from the universe's standpoint about what's going to happen in my life, what I need to work on, what I need to be mindful about, other things. Sometimes it involves the goals, sometimes it involves, life directions, choices, whatever come through. So this kind of exercise has very profound effect on both your conscious mind and your subconscious, which is more important. And once I record this, so I say as much as I want until I feel like I don't have more to say. And then I play it back to myself. And when you play this back to yourself, what I often find is it has a different effect compared to when you're just talking, right? It seems like it makes no difference because it's the same information. When I speak it, I can hear myself talk. When I play it back from the voice recorder, it's me talking about the same thing. However, it actually has a different effect on your system. That's why I highly recommend go back to listen to it. Okay, you will. I think you will find that sometimes you get additional information, and it helps you to shift on the energetic level in, you know, slightly different ways. It's like an onion that has different layers. So that is a ritual that I want you to try out because we just crossed the new year and this is the perfect time to do this. Of course, if you feel called to do it, right? There are thousands of ways to skin the cat. I don't want to skin any cat, but so to speak. Okay. Um and this is a way that I feel called to tell you. So I encourage you to try it out and let me know how it goes. And that's all for this week's episode. And I want to thank you for making the Soundcast part of your weekly routine and for being part of the School of Intuition tribe. And if you have not subscribed to this Soundcast, you should go to natashache.com/school to sign up and join the Empathic Badass tribe. And I will see you there. Okay, talk to you next time.